This is day 463 of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi. Today's Arukh HaShulchan Yomi is sponsored by my good friend and my chabrusa, Danny Kissen, for a foolish name and for his father, Avram Zcharia ben Miriam. Made it happen very quickly. If you'd like to sponsor upcoming Shir more of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi, please contact me directly. It would be very greatly appreciated. Today we are doing Siman Shin Gimel, Sif Chaf Aleph, to Siman Shin Gimel, Sif Chaf Tes. Chaf Aleph. And we're talking about still women's jewelry in various different places. You can and cannot wear it out. In ancient times, they already were concerned. Our women go out into the public domain with all the jewelry. Nobody protests against this. Those who wrote indeed that this is forbidden. But since they're not going to listen to us, you must eat those. They should do it unintentionally rather than deliberately. To say such a justification and rationalization. So already the Rishonim tried to find some some merit for the women. Some say that we seized on to the opinion of Rabbeinu Tam of the previous sif. Everything is like this. The jewel, the ornament she puts over her hair. It says and that she's allowed to go out to anyway with all of her jewelry to a chutzner where there is no eruv. But saying like Rosh Hashanah, everybody else says no Rosh Hashanah. And in an event, the Chol have in Carmelists. Our streets are like our Carmelists, and therefore they're like a chutzner she'ein moreves. A chutzner doesn't have an eruv. The Carmelists come in a chutzner she'ein moreves, even though we find by saving things from a fire that it's more difficult to allow you to save things from a fire by bringing them into a Carmelist than by bringing them into a chutzner she'ein moreves. So you see, a Carmelist is more severe. The Carmelist going to chutzner she'ein moreves sharim mitzim b'tleika l'chutzner she'ein moreves. You can save stuff from the fire to chutzner she'ein moreves below the Carmelist, but not to the Carmelist. Zel lididu shalem Rosh Hashanah. That was for them. They had Rosh Hashanah. Carmelist dami. The Carmelist is more like Rosh Hashanah than a Chotzer, which is not didn't have an eruv. But even on Rosh Hashanah, they're equivalent. Ain't no must speak. Says still not enough. It's built on the assumption that we need no Rosh Hashanah because it requires 600,000. We'll see later that many great Rishonim don't hold you need 600,000 or make a Rosh Hashanah. And there are many great cities there which do have 600,000 inhabitants, and there's some shittas which hold once the 600,000 inhabitants, even they're not all on the streets at the same time, there's already Rosh Hashanah in the city. Therefore, there are those who give a different reason. Today, every woman wears jewelry, and they're prevalent even on a weekday. We're not concerned that you're going to take them up and show them. Come over your man, like in their day, let's say when they only wore jewelry on Shabbos and it wasn't prevalent. Therefore, they're not going to take it off and show because anyway. And everybody's wearing jewelry all the time. Yesh kasvu, and some people say the nashi did not enter maros takshitem b'tabosem. Our women don't show their jewelry and the rings off. Yesh laaz b'adavar. We can explain as follows: the neighbor sif test and he's by the clear shari. It says a tiara is permissible to go out. Mitam the man on account of the man darker lemei b'klila, who's a woman who goes out with the tiara? Yishachashuva, a distinguished woman. Yishachashuva lo shalva machve, and a distinguished woman does not take off her jewelry to show other people pasnish. It's inappropriate behavior. But nashi dan kulon chashuva saying, our women are all distinguished. For old time, yes, was a Lenny was right. Arukh HaShulchan says there's another reason. You do it, Shemeim, you Nashim, Yosh was a besa. In their days, the women used to sit at home. Lo yotzes tadi l'rechov, wouldn't go out very frequently to the street. Sheyotzes lefrokim, when they went out on occasion to the street, or yotzes atuvas bistineim, they went out wrapped in their sheets. But perhaps we could take call it burkas. And there was no Ezras Nashim in the shul. It came Laura prakim. So women only see each other at great intervals. And very rarely did one go into the other's house. And there was very great concern. If they happened to meet each other on Shabbos, Holchos, Biluchon, when they're walking, Birchov, Shafi Mechle, and haven't seen each other in 6 months, and usually don't see my jewelry. Let me show you this amazing piece which I just got. Now women go frequently in the streets and the marketplaces. And they frequently go to visit each other. They see each other in the Ezras Noshim. It came in so they can show off their jewelry to each other in their houses or in the shuls. And it's not at all prevalent that they could, or at all to be found, that women take off in the middle of the street their jewelry to show their friends. We see clearly we see on weekdays and Yontif when it's mutter they don't do it. Why should we be concerned that they're going to do it on Shabbos? They say, heter nachon uborer. Pretty good. It goes pretty far with this. He says it's a correct and clear heter. Chav Gimel. Upashit, it's simple. Who the heter is a rak l'chashosha d'shav u'machavi. Zebrov tashitim. This works for the concern that they might take off and show, which is the concern by most jewelry. But a place where she might be concerned, she might be nervous that people laugh at her. So that also applies today as well. But this is rare, especially nowadays. People wear all sorts of outlandish things, and people don't laugh at them, and people are not self-conscious. Also, this leniency which Arukh HaShulchan gives does not apply to jewelry which is inherently a burden, such as a ring which has a signet on it for a woman, and a ring which doesn't have a signet for a man, and so to a needle, a pin with a hole in it for a woman. These are not forbidden because they're going to take them out and show them, and but because they're a true burden. And she's liable to take them out. But even this says, there's a reason to be remated. Now men actually wear rings which have no signets, especially men who wear wedding bands. And therefore it's kind of like reciprocal. We know the women today carry on their fingers rings which have signets. Mishabur says that Chishra Kiv Eger writes that even though you shouldn't be mocha and a woman goes out with a signet ring because there isn't what to rely, nevertheless, Baal Nefesh should not be concerned for himself not to go out with the ring at all outside an Eruv. So it sounds like he's low plug l'chumra. Nobody should wear rings outside an Eruv. But Arukh HaShulchan says that is much more lenient. Adarabba. Anyway, today they don't make the signet ring for the purpose of the seal. For the purpose of jewelry. That the engraving is something which you could use for a seal, but it's really made to astonish the eye. The place where you have the signet itself, it's a very nice piece of jewelry. Mutaros, let's say, and therefore they're allowed to wear them out. And so to needles, we know the women today put in place the knots in their scarves, which they're wearing as head coverings, or didayan and other head ornaments. The machatim, they use the pins, needles, whether they have holes or not. And they are considered to be useful for the garments. A part of the use of the garments are permissible. Nevertheless, you have to warn them. Livli terbena b'machatos. They should not have so many needles. Only what they need to hold their knots in place. Not more. At least to this extent, they'll listen to us. Because anyway, they're superfluous. Even if it has no hole, they should not take out a pin which does not have its sharp point. And this is even this, of course, when you take it out on Shabbos. Even took it out for Erev Shabbos. If it's not designated for its purpose, but to put it in a scarf for somebody else, have a muktzah, because it's a broken keli. This is going to be clear, explained there on. Those who forbid where it's, I guess, the one before is chuda v'oktzah means both sides. The sharp point and the okitz, I guess, even though okitz is also like a point, but I guess like by esrog, it's the bottom, so that's a bottom needle. So he says, before he said specifically if the top and bottom needle are both missing, but he says there are those who say that if either the top or the bottom are missing, it's served enu ikar, and that's the Magen Avram, and the Arukh HaShulchan rejects it. The Mishnah Berurah brings down the Magen Avram, that he and evidently he elaborates the Magen Avram that if it's a needle with a hole, it's no longer kli if it loses either or the top of the point or the top which has the hole in it, right? Because you can't use it. But by a needle which does not have a hole in it, the shem keli is not eliminated until both the top and the bottom are removed. And back to Shulchan Machan the Kuva Filu Shlema Asur, if it has a hole, even if it's complete, it's Asur Kamosha Isbar, although there's not made close before, but that was leave close, I guess. Not, it still remains Asur. Or maybe it's about where it's additional ones, like you said before. Chavhei Habonos Katanos Shinokvino's name, they'll say in the Zomim, young girls who pierce their ears to put in them earrings, She Yagdilu, when they grow up. Uchadesh Zisnua's name is so that their ears do not close up. Kavim, the holes do not close up. Nassim and Kismin, they put little sticks in there. Utaras, let's say, they're allowed to go out with these little sticks in their earlobes. Vavgav lav tafshilu, even though it's not a jewelry. Come nelas ezem asu, it's not a burden. Came in the dark, and let's say, that's what they all do. And the Kosh came, the Masim Chutibah's name, She'enakam asu, it's something they put strings in, which is not like a burden, that's certainly okay. That's only if it's not colored. But if it's colored strings, then it's also tam shalfi machve. Because she'll pull it out over here and show it. Even though we don't make such a decree by earrings, that's specifically by a married woman. Which brings down some machlekas also by colored strings for non-married women. It doesn't determine halacha. Arukh HaShulchan clearly is machmer. Ava basula, but an unmarried girl, now. Which we said by the adult woman, the reason why she's not going to take them out is because her ears are underneath her head, her hair covering, which is obviously not always the case. But if the ears are under the hair covering, it's not an issue. But basula ain't now. But a woman, an unmarried girl, does not have a problem revealing her ears. And certainly in places where people go out deliberately with uncovered ears. There's time to show. Lashon Mishnah, the kachu, the Mishnah says, "Abanos ketanos, young girls, yotzes b'chutin, they go out with strings, afilu b'kismin, and even in slivers of wood, Shebazneim in their ears. Near Lavdafka Ktanos, not specifically children, but they feel Nashim Gdalos, but obviously even adults. Shem Perku Test, Dini Beis Kasav, Hanashim Yotzes Bekisir Shebazneim. Women go out with these little slivers of wood in their ears. Ayin Sham. Labe Kavana Shim Bilosh Mishnah Zed, the Lavdafka Ktanos. Made that to the Ram and changed language in the Mishnah to show that it's not specifically Ktanos, but even Gdolos as well. Chavav. Ochani by Mishnah Shom. We also know the Mishnah there. Arabios, women who live in Arabia. Yotzos Ulos. They go out with their face concealed. Nashim Shib Yisrael's, meaning Nashim Yisrael Yoshib Arab, Jewish women in Arabia. Derech Arabios and the derech of Arab women, Yos Mutafos, is to be wrapped. Russian Upneim, the entire head and face, chutz minayin, except for the eyes. Chaylev Russian Arabi Reulos, and in Arabic they call it Reulos. I don't know which Arabic word the word. V'ainu harolos tichsi gavi tachshiti noshim b'Yeshaya, and this type of wrap is mentioned in Yeshaya. Uvetur v'shulchan aruch siv chavav kosav shemateves kol rosh chutz v'panim. This is more of, I think, a hijab, where she wraps her whole head besides the face. This is something else altogether. It's something on the neck or in the clothing. They're like bells or triangles. The Aruch says like Rashi. B'shaninu, we learned umadoyos prufos. Medium women go up prufos, meaning Nashim Yisrael Shema, that women, Jewish women in Media, which is near Babylon. Yotzos prufos, they go out what's prufos. Shem atfos b'tais to wrap themselves in a garment. V'toleratzu b'sfasa achas shenet savara, and she puts the strap of one side on the other shoulder. Opposite her neck, Evan goes, and on the second corner of the garment, she puts a stone or a nut, and she ties the. So it's not that. No, she doesn't. The strap goes from the shoulder over to the around the nut or around the stone on the other shoulder. That prevents the garment from falling off of her. Uporefes kmo krasim, and porefes is like connectors, like hooks. Then purfaya. Every time you link the garment to one side, the other, it's called prifa. It's not specifically the Arabian and medium women who have this leniency. Anybody does the Shubachal Mahovek talk about a prevalent case. Chav Zayin Uporevis goes for Evan, and she can use in order to make this kind of external button a nut or a stone. She used to look on Erev Shabbos, which she designated for Erev Shabbos, and she could therefore wear out. Evan Mani Yichul B'Lo Ma'aser. You make a stone designated for a purpose and to be usable on Shabbos, even without doing Ma'aser to it. The Mishnah Berurah says if it's not round, Yichud doesn't work for one Shabbos unless you miyachid for eternity. And that works even by a coin, which normally should be considered muktzah. But since you designate permanently to be your button, that's okay. But that is the Mishnah Berurah's opinion. But Arukh HaShulchan says, Shabbos, you're not allowed to use that as the button on Shabbos. La partitzel, you're not allowed to carry it all. Tashmish b'chol. In other words, actually not, you're not allowed to carry it, because you don't carry it for any purpose other than money on a weekday. He says Yichud does not work. Again, not the Mishnah Berurah says if you designate it permanently, it does work. So that means that even though Yichud designation doesn't work, but if you already used it on Erev Shabbos, did a ma'aser to it to change its character, the coin, or you actually use it as a button on Erev Shabbos, That's okay. Shabbos, so she used it to wrap or to close her garment Erev Shabbos. Mutzah Tzeis Shabbos, she can go wear it out on Shabbos itself. Koshken Yotze B'Sha'achas Mibod Yom. So it's not, it doesn't you have to wear it. It's a Kavachomer, and if she does wear it, she certainly go out with it on Shabbos. It says in brackets, the Tur Shulchan Lo Kosvos, they didn't write the Shum Yitzia, Ev Shar Below Pirpur. She can't go out without doing this closing of the garment. So you don't need a deliberate going out. In other words, like once it's designated for that purpose, so then you don't have to actually go out. So therefore, I guess that's why they leave it out. The question is asked: can a woman do a ruse and do this prefo even though she doesn't need it in order to take a nut out on Shabbos for her child? I Shabbat Gemara, the Shabbos Savik. Well, it's not clear because obviously you have interest in it being transported from place to place. Arukh HaShulchan says even though we find ruses which work even d'oraisa, such as when you make a ruse to on a bechor in order to be able to redeem it, etc. Here it's given that it's blatant, that this is just a plain and simple outright ruse. It's not clear whether you can do the ruse. In doubt if it's a suffix d'oraisa and the machmir, and not to take out the nut to the child through the ruse. But in the karmas, it's mutter. If it's Mishus Rabim D'Rabbanan, it's okay. Just like Allah and all sfeikas, the rice of the chumrah, the Rabbanan Mekula. When it's a question of the rice, we're machmir. A question of Rabbanan, we're maker. He says brackets here. There's a parallel made in the Gemara between the ruse here and the ruse where you're trying to save things from a fire. Because there it's also obvious. Mavra, Metes. I don't remember what a Mavra is. Yes, it may. It's like the Mavra. Okay, Chav Tes. Mavra is usually a ferry boat. Maybe it's really a ferry boat. I don't know. Chavtes, Isa Gemara, Tan Rabbanan. We learn the Gemara that Yotzim be'evan tkuma b'Shabbos. This is a kind of mystical stone, which helps prevent miscarriages. We'evan shenozos nashim muvaros is a stone which is carried by pregnant women. Shleya pilu in order they should not have a miscarriage. Which only cross sterrenshus. Okay. Evidently, they still have them today as a skula, not because that and certain rabbis, I guess, have them and they loan them out. That's what I heard when I was in Chicago. Mishum Rabbi Meir Amru Af Mishkal Emet Kuma. You don't even need the actual stone, even something which weighs the same as a stone. Shishiklu connect l'shum davar. They weigh something opposite. Some Mishkal Emet. If it's the same weight as the Emet Kuma, Yesh Gambo Yesh Skulazu. It also has this unique quality. Below Shepil, and it's not just if she miscarried at first. Elafilu Shematapil, even we're concerned she might have miscarriage. Below Shibra Kfar, and it's not even that she has to be pregnant. Ela Afilu Shemati Sabra Tapil. She can wear on Shabbos because she might become pregnant and have a miscarriage. So Arukh HaShulchan says, let's not going to take it that far. Venerally, the Mayre, so about a case, Mishpacha Shemepilos. The family has a history. V'avaka Kamea, therefore it's like the Kamea, which is not Simon Shin Aleph Ayin Yosef Ayin Tes Ayin Sham. The locate, because if not, Echnat, there's how can we permit this? Who the Chavin the Iskil, and it has to be measured and precise. Klamar Hamishkal Emet Kuma Loshi Klu Davar V'Yasul Kimishkalo. Not that they take something and they make it by clay or something. They make it according to the weight of the Emet Kuma. She's Dami Atzmo Kimishkal, but that happened to be not deliberately made that way, the same weight. By Mishkal, the Mishkal Mao. What happens if you weighed something against them, weighed something Kuma, now you want to weigh something opposite the weight which you weighed from the Emet Kuma? Mishkal Malglomar even Exam Shishokla Mishkal and Tkuma Chenegdo Dover Acher. So we're up to the third thing already. Needs to Mishkal but the same weight, Imo Il, it's effective. Davgadi Melu Mishkal and Tkuma, even though we didn't make it liberally that way, it was just automatic. Achulaya Skula who Davka Bishaklu Kevanatsmo. The school only works if you balance it opposite the stone itself. And the Yishar Basavi is not clear. Male to Usser, and therefore comes out that it's Usser. Vulai the Bakamas Mutter. Perhaps it's permitted in the Karmas Kibadin Shal Siba Kodem, like we said in the previous Sif about the Porphin al Ha-Egos. In the brackets he says, Upasko Apaskin Kray Meir, Mishun Libaya Libe Ozil. Paskin Pasik like in Meir because Abaye has a discussion on the basis of Rabbi Meir, and therefore Mishkal and Kuma, at least the first Mishkal works. Mishnabaya Alibe again, Pasuk basically Meir, Mishnabaya Abaye, Alibe Ozil. It's going on Rabbi Meir. The Tanakama got Mishkal, because Tanakama also the first weighted stone would be prohibited. But Koch came Mishkal, the Mishkal, and certainly the Mishkal would be also as well. So I guess what he's saying is that when they pass like Rabbi Meir, maybe he's also saying they pass away by Mishkal to Mishkal, but it's not clear to me how that would work out. Okay.